There we go. Hello, welcome everyone to today's Influence Stories. And I am so honored to have with us Miami Dade County's first Chief Bay Officer, Irela Bague. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Helena. It's great to be here.
Well, today we're going to learn a little bit about you. This is the first time that this position exists. The first time it's almost like it was created to fit you because once everybody hears your background, like I've known it for so many years, and what you do in the community, then they will understand how important this position is for our county and for our future. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I want to remind everyone that all of our social media hashtags are here in the bottom. And if you want to follow her and learn more about her position as Chief Bay Officer in Miami-Dade County, I encourage you to do so. So, Irela, let's start with the basics. What is a Chief Bay Officer?
Well, let me just start there. I think it's a new position. I've never heard of one that exists. Maybe it does somewhere. I doubt it. That position stemmed from the work that the Biscayne Bay Task Force did over a span of 18 months. The task force was created by the Miami-Dade County Commission with the leadership of Commissioner Rebecca Sosa. I want to give her a shout out always. And basically, it was one of the recommendations because we at the task force realized that a lot of people are doing a lot of things. There's so many different agencies and cities and environmental groups doing things for the Bay, but no one was really coordinating much of it. And so, that success works when everyone's around the table working in the same direction. And so that was one of the recommendations that came out of the task force. The other one was for the chief bay officer to serve as an advisor to the mayor and to the county commission on many water policy issues. Also serve as an advocate for the county at the state level, at the federal level, because really the Bay hasn't really had a big voice. We've heard of other watersheds around the state getting a lot of attention, but really the Biscayne Bay, which is one of the most important, obviously a bias,
Yes, a little bit.
important bays in our state, the watershed, and it really wasn't getting a lot of attention. So now with this role, I'm really excited because I can be that advocate and kind of what I was already doing in my own, personal advocacy. And I've been at this for a very long time, as you know. So basically, I serve as a coordinator, an advisor, and an advocate, just to keep it simple. There's a lot going on. As you know, we, experienced a horrific fish kill during the summer. That had a lot to do with all the nutrient pollution in the Bay coming from different sources, everything from, our groundwater and the septic systems that are failing because they're low lying and sea level rise is having an impact on those, from wastewater to old aging pipes that keep bursting, that needs to be addressed. And a lot of the canals that just you move water through our stormwater systems, when it rains, in order to deal with our flooding, that to not flood, all that water goes in through their storm systems and ends up in either the canals or in the bay, and so all that water moves a lot of pollution and trash into the bay. And so combine all of that with high heat because of climate change, we had that problem in the system over the summer. So the key is what can we do to prevent all of that from happening again, or from the Bay getting worse? So the task force, it finished our report. It was well accepted by the county commission. We're moving forward with a number of those recommendations already. A lot is being done. This is my second month on the job, but before I even got here, a lot has happened. And so, we have a new mayor, Mayor Daniela Levin Cama. She's one of my bosses. She's my boss, and then so is the commission. And
That's a lot of bosses.
Yeah, a lot of bosses. But she hit the ground running and released a report card for the Bay, and that kind of set the stage and made it really easy for people to realize where the big problems are along the Bay. Very simple: red, yellow, green. It's not. It's that simple. So we want to hit those red spots first, right?
Okay.
And then, and it's a variety of issues that we have to deal with, like I mentioned before. She also released an action plan for septic to sewer conversion. We have over 100,000 homes and properties on septic systems.
That's right.
Some of them are already failing, like I said, and those we need to really address now. And that's already happening. I'm very optimistic because I've finally seen that all the county departments are really engaged in this issue. Water and sewer, DERM, the Environmental Resources Division of the county, Public Works. We have everyone around the table really looking, strategically on how to address these issues. And so there's a lot going on. And, I just wanted to, talk about all this infrastructure and all these improvements that we need to make, because all that is also an economic stimulus. And, we're in a pandemic. A lot of our businesses have suffered a lot of people out of work. And I really feel that once we start getting all these, projects moving forward, those will create jobs for us and for our community. So
That's a really interesting point, because
and
a lot of people connect, they don't make the connection between taking care of our environment, which is where we live and what we depend on. And it's not just a cute little green thing to do. This is taking care of our environment, is taking care of our home, and it's where we live. And if our environment is destroyed, then we have nowhere to live. It's really that basic.
But and it's also our water, our drinking water.
If we don't have water, if our bay is polluted and disgusting, we're not going to have any tourism. I mean, there are so many things that are connected to the economy. And it's interesting that you would bring up the jobs, because not a lot of people make that connection, that
Right.
if we have all these projects that we need to do, that we are able to create jobs.
Yeah, they do. And, that's a good thing, a plus for us. So there's always a return on investment. Whenever we invest in the environment, there's an economic return. Why? Precisely the things that you stated. Our tourism-based economy. Clearly, our tourism has suffered because of the pandemic, but it will bounce back eventually. And if we have, a polluted bay and fish kills and beaches closing, who's going to want to come here? So
Right.
it is really a huge responsibility for us to address these issues immediately, to protect our economy, at the same time our property values. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of growth, and that's good. But at the same time, we have to grow responsibly with that, with the environment in mind. Who's going to want to buy a condo with a view of the bay if the bay is dying?
That's right.
So we have a lot to do.
Yes, well, that's exactly right, and that's also what I would like to talk about. Oh, I'm all blurry. Come back. Okay. That what I wanted to talk about is what are some of the goals? Do you have specific goals that you would like to get to in the next 12 months?
Right. So one of the goals is, well, first of all, again, like I said before, everyone now is focused on the Bay. When I say everyone, it's not just the county, the state government. I want to give some shout outs to our state legislators, Representative Duran and Senator Garcia, who introduced the bill to create a Protect the Bay license plate that will raise funds for a lot of the initiatives and education that we need. We will be putting together or developing a Biscayne Bay recovery website that the public can go and learn about the issues, learn what we're doing, and engaging and learning what they can do as individuals to help Biscayne Bay recover. So I'll be doing that. I'll be working a lot, obviously cross intergovernment, within county government, just coordinating, working with our commissioners and the legislation that they will agree to pass because of the Biscayne Bay Task Force report. There's a lot of information there and things to do. Septic to sewer, like I mentioned, improving our aging infrastructure, and really, honestly, public education. Public education is very important, and it's one of the biggest challenges that we have because we're such a diverse community, and people come from all over the world and decide to live in Miami, and really, people come from different ecosystems that aren't as vulnerable as ours, and so trying to get every resident to make that connection with our environment is key, and what they can do to protect it. we're working on a countywide fertilizer ordinance, so that when it rains here, it rains a lot during the season, right? There's no reason why we need to be fertilizing during that time, right? So
again, there's an economic connection. What a waste of money. You're throwing away your fertilizer.
Right. And so, and toxins in the ground end up in our water supply.
It's that simple.
If you live on a canal, you don't need to be, fertilizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to go right into the canal, and it's going to go right into the bay. So taking those kinds of like little steps that you can take as a resident are important. Like picking up dog waste is another one.
There you go. That's something we can do, because that part of something else I wanted to ask you is, what can regular people do to help the bay?
Right.
Pick up your dog waste, even from your own yard, because it will end up in the water. Don't over fertilize. And if you live by water, don't fertilize. Right. It's going to go in the water.
And don't litter. Pick up your trash. And if you see trash on the streets, pick it up. A lot of plastic bottles. Lower your plastic consumption. We don't need to be, but we have really good water here in Miami-Dade County, by the way. It comes out of the tap. It's very good. You can use bottled water, like not, you can use, I don't want to advertise anyone in particular.
Well, I'm going to advertise my name because I got to market, because people take it. So this is filled with Miami-Dade water.
Carry this around. You fill it up with tap water. You don't need to be buying bottled water. You really don't. It's too much plastic. Things like that. And if you're a boater, can you please slow down? Our manatees are dying.
Yes.
And really
boat race.
And it's like, don't leave a trace. That's don't trace wherever if you're camping, if you're doing anything near a waterway, just pick it up.
That's very important, and it's simple things we can all do. Now, I want to talk about your background a little bit, because I've known you for so many years, and you are known countywide, at least countywide, as the Water Princess. So, so tell us a little bit, why do people call you the Water Princess?
Well, okay, I just want to make it clear, I did not give myself that name. That name is a term of endearment that was given to me when I was serving on the governing board of the South Florida Water Management District many years ago, on behalf of, or at the pleasure of, Governor Bush. And that name was given to me by Chairman now, Pepe Diaz. And so, and so, and so, at the end of the day, I guess I've earned that crown for all the work that I've done. And so, I'll just own it now, and I do have a hashtag. It was in that article, hashtag HRH2O.
Yes, Her Royal Highness H2O, yes. And that's, I mean, you know what? It all comes full circle, right? You've been working so hard for the health of our waters, and our bay, our canals, our drinking water, that it's high time that the county finally had a position that really kind of brought everyone from all the different departments together. That's very important. And what are some of the challenges that we're facing, and that you found once you started this position?
Well, I mean, it's just, just the challenges is just coordinating everyone. Like I said before, we've got great people doing amazing things, but really let's all kind of, let's all get on the same boat, and chart that path together. And so that's challenging, kind of like herding cats. And there's so many different things that we have to address, like I said before, but it can be done. And I've done it, in my career mostly, I've served on many boards and I've chaired many initiatives. So I guess that's one of the skill sets that I bring to the job. And also the other challenge is really, getting out there and really having these kind of conversations to educate the public on, on what they can actually do to help. There's cleanups going on all the time. And I'm just amazed at the amount of trash. It's really, that's a big challenge. That's a big challenge. The amount of trash picking up, and the plastic and the little tiny pieces of plastic that end up in our fish that we eat. So it's just full circle, like you said.
Yes, and the tiny pieces of plastic are so difficult to get away from. As a mom, I always try to, buy things that are not tiny plastic things, but my kids want toys. And all the toys have 100 million little clippers on them to take them out of the box. And it's always, they're all made out of plastic. Little tiny tie wraps that you have to cut. I mean, even that, when I'm cutting it, I'm feeling guilty. I'm like, I know where this is going to end up. It's so difficult.
Yeah, those pieces are not recyclable.
No, it's so difficult. And so I think, is there any push from the county to perhaps ask businesses to be more conscious, such as with packaging, with deliveries, with that sort of thing?
Well, there isn't, okay, so that there were some cities that, tried to ban plastic bags and polystyrene, and they got pushed back and preemptions from the state. So we're not allowed to do that at the local level. But what we can do as government is, require that of our vendors. So that's where we started. And, Mayor Daniela Levy Cava, when she was commissioner, she championed that within county government, and we're moving forward with that. And I know that there are a lot of cities that are doing that. And a lot of cities like Miami Beach, for example, they have a really, really cool program where they work with the businesses and they're incentivized, right, to lower their, consumption of these, materials and go green and stop using plastic. And so there's a lot of things that we can do within the constraints of our state preemptions.
Yes, which are unfortunate, that local governments can't make their own decisions, and that that all counties are thought to be exactly the same, which we know is just not the case. I want to remind everyone today we have Irela Bague, who is the first Chief Bay Officer in Miami-Dade County. Now I'm going to show. Here you go. This is an email. If anybody wants to reach Irela's office, ask a question. What about volunteering? What about events? Are we putting on any events to help the Bay, educational events? Tell us about that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of the recommendations in our report, you've heard the county puts on this big day event, cleanup event called Baynanza, where a lot of folks participate. It's one day. So we were like, why does it have to be one day? Why can't we do many of them and partner with organizations that do this on a regular basis? And so that's what we're going to start to do. But if people want to volunteer to do a cleanup, they can go to volunteercleanup.org. My good friends over at volunteercleanup.org are always engaging, and they have a calendar of events that you can participate in, and really probably even in your own local community. If you live in a city, I'm sure the city is engaging in some kind of sustainability programming. There's a lot of organizations. Miami Water Keepers is another organization that we work closely with. They're doing amazing work. They're always in the front lines, collecting water samples and making sure, that they're holding everyone accountable. So there's a lot that can be done. But yeah, shoot me an email, and if you have any questions or if you have any ideas and solutions, we're happy to hear it.
That's right. I mean, there are a lot of talented people out there that could probably come up with some great partnerships. So I want to, ask everyone if they have any ideas to go ahead and connect with Irela at Chief Bay Officer at miamidade.gov. Shoot her an email, and I know for a fact that she's very receptive. So you guys can all try to do that, and we can all get involved in helping our Bay, which is a huge, huge thing. Now, if you could put it, in one sentence, why should we care about our Bay at all?
Well, because the environment is the economy here. That's why we should care. And our quality of life depends on clean water in order to live here. And we also rely on an economy so that we can thrive here. So it's that simple.
That's right. It's that simple. I've always seen the environment economic connection. And I think South Florida specifically is one of the best examples as to how interconnected we are between the economy and the environment. So I commend you, and I thank you, and wish you the best of luck in this new position. And as always, if you need anything, let us know. Thank you so much to Irela Bague, the first Chief Bay Officer in Miami-Dade County. Thank you so much, Irela, for joining us.
Thank you, Helena and Influence Stories. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful